Hello and welcome to the Local Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Johnson. The Local Leaders Podcast provides a platform for successful business owners to share their stories, their experiences, their advice, and their ideas in order to help our listeners achieve more success in their business and in their lives. Get ready, another great show is coming up. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Local Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Johnson, and I am super excited today to be on with Scaffidi Restaurant Group's main man, Frankie I told you I'd mess it up, DiCarlantonio.
Yes.
Yeah, it takes me a minute. I told you I was Southern, so, that just doesn't flow out quick enough. Welcome to the podcast, Frankie. Thanks for being here.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on a podcast titled the Local Leaders Podcast because I always feel, it's not a title I give to myself lightly, but I like to consider myself a community leader in everything that I do because, running a business is great to operate your business and your little ecosystem, but I like to think that it's more about the community as well. So this is a great honor to be with you today.
Well, thank you very much for saying that, and we are honored to have you because you and the group, Scaffidi Restaurant Group, have done a lot of great things. You've accomplished a lot, been able to grow the business, and what we're all about, as you know, is trying to help others by hearing and learning from your examples, your stories, your experiences. Things you did right, the things you did wrong, and we want to share as much of that with our fellow restaurateurs. And that helps that community and helps people all over the country. So thank you very much for that. And Scaffidi Restaurant Group's out of Steubenville, Ohio, for those who don't know. And if you wouldn't mind, Frank, I'd love to just give you the mic and let you kind of tell us a little about the business and what you guys are all about.
Absolutely. So the Scaffidi Restaurant Group is a multi-brand food service corporation based out of Steubenville, Ohio. We're about 45 minutes outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, so we're kind of known as the burb of the burg. That's our closest metropolitan area. In 2009, my two cousins, Nino and Dawn Scaffidi, started what has now become the Scaffidi Restaurant Group. Our flagship location, Scaffidi's Pasta, was open in a very small home-like setting in 2009 that sat about 25 people and touted the notion of Grandma's house on Sunday. So it was so special to us because their mothers and my grandmother were involved in the development of a lot of the recipes. We were blending 3 different people's worth of cooking styles, which if for those that know anything about Italy, going from region to region is almost sometimes being like in a different country. The different foods and the different dialects and the different traditions are so different from region to region. So we were able to combine three nonnas, as we call them, their recipes and their traditions into the recipes and the processes that we have today to create Scaffidi's Pasta. Shortly thereafter, in 2011, we relocated the Scaffidi's Pasta to a new location, to one of our locations that we have today, and retitled it Scaffidi's Restaurant and Tavern because we gained a bar and a tavern area in the move. We literally grew 10 times overnight. We went from a location that sat 25 people to a location that seats 250 people. Throughout that 2-year period, it became very apparent to us that we had outgrown what my cousins had started. And I started as a very young guy. When they opened the first location in 2009, I was 14 years old. I had no inclination of going into the restaurant business. I actually, when I was younger, I wanted to go into the medical field. But when I was 14, being a good Italian cousin, I went into the restaurant just to see what I could do to help. I really don't know what a 14-year-old could do to help, but obviously I found a niche somewhere because 12 years later, I'm 26 going on 27, and I'm still here. So it's been a great ride, and I love the food service business. I really can't imagine doing anything different than I am right now. Ever since we relocated into the location we are now in a very large space, we started our catering division, Scaffidi Catering. That we are a full on-site and off-site catering service. We do a plethora of events and are the host of many of Steubenville's fine events throughout the year. In 2021, it's always been a dream of the restaurant group to open up a different concept that was more quick service and fast casual under our basis of our gnocchi. We are known for our gnocchi here. For anyone that knows what gnocchi are, they are little pasta dumplings. Ours are unique because most of the gnocchis that people have and the recipes are made with potatoes that are put into the dough of the pasta. Ours is made with ricotta cheese, so ours is definitely much lighter, more flavorful, and definitely is different than what most people are used to. So we've had this dream, and in 2021, we pushed forward. We did everything we could because it was sort of a now or never moment. And we opened up Scaffidi's Gnocchi Nook, which was our first brand that we opened up at a different location. We opened that in August of 2021, so it is pretty fresh. We're going on 5 months, and that has been wonderful. It's a quick service, build your own, so it's a customizable experience. You build your gnocchi bowls and pasta bowls and everything like that. It's been a great experience for customers. And we also have a virtual brand. It's called Scaffidi's Wings on Wheels, which is Steubenville's first virtual kitchen that we operate through the DoorDash network here in the Ohio Valley. It's a chicken wing establishment where you can get wings and 6 packs of beer and wine, as well as some desserts as well. We did that during the COVID-19 pandemic to help sort of boost the sales that everybody was losing.
Yes, sir.
So that's a little bit about the Scaffidi Restaurant Group as to where we stand right now. I know we're going to talk a little bit about what 2022 looks like for us and for business in general. But that's sort of where we stand right now.
Well, that's a pretty amazing journey for all the things that you guys have done to build the business and really to launch it and get it off the ground. And as you said, you came in at 14, and I'm sure they found a job for you in the washing dishes and clearing tables and all that kind of good stuff to begin with. But look at you now.
Yes, I did. I was all the family members were stopping by and we were sending people for ice and pop. And obviously at 14, all you got is your 2 feet on you. So I was doing all the above and have since grown with the business and I'm excited to have done so. So obviously they put me to work and they kept me. So obviously I cleared a mean table or washed a dish pretty good. So I'm still here.
Yeah, well, I mean, congratulations on all the success that you guys have. And I was curious why you were telling the story, especially about Gnocchi. Was that in response to COVID as a way to kind of create and launch a QSR concept, or was that something that was already in y'all's mind ahead of COVID?
So it was definitely in our mind ahead of COVID. We've
Okay.
always been an establishment, the building that we are in right now, which is our main hub, which houses our restaurant and tavern brand, and the catering brand, and is sort of our main hub for everything that we do. It's a very large building. So we've always had this dream of replicating a restaurant in a way that is controllable. So for those that are in the restaurant business, you understand that it's very hard to replicate a completely, full service restaurant. And we took that into mind and wanted to create the Scaffidi's Gnocchi Nook in order to create a customizable experience, but also a quick service so that it could be replicated multiple times over. So that's it's always been on our mind, but with COVID-19, with the amount of uncertainty that there was throughout that year, we were very blessed with so much support from our customers, previous, current, and future, that we were able to move forward with the development of the Gnocchi Nook. And we did that. And we thought, COVID-19 is here. We had some extra time because of the fact that we were not as busy as we once were.
Yeah.
So we used the time wisely and realized that opening up a quick service location, obviously we were, optimistic about COVID-19 and wanted to get through it as well as everyone still does to this day. We realized that the quick service establishment is one that's sort of COVID proof, if there is such a thing. It's all, it would almost always be exempt from government regulations because it's a carry out only establishment.
Mhm.
People were doing carry out no matter what, even though restaurants were open. We weren't seeing that bounce back of in-house sales. So we knew that the carry out sensation was there because people were so uncomfortable with COVID, or they just got used to it. I know I've become a homebody myself throughout this COVID-19 experience. So it was a little bit of both. It was a dream that we had, and we realized that, we're in this situation of COVID. And when you're in business, there's nothing wrong. Obviously, you don't want to price gouge or do anything unethical in the business world, but there's nothing wrong with taking advantage of the situation that you're in. And we realized that it was probably a good time that a carry out establishment could get up and running and get going, and we definitely did.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's absolutely a great timing to be able to pull that off, and it's so nice. I mean, as you think about it, it's really a diversification move for different restaurant groups or owners of multiple units. You see it, often as a way to diversify. You've got the full service, you got some QSRs, you probably have some other businesses elsewhere. And even the ghost kitchen online things with Wings on Wheels, just a great way to try to make sure you're as diverse as possible, so you're able to respond to environmental factors that are beyond our control. And for all our listeners out there, I just want to take a second to give you the website address, because I know you can't see it for all our folks listening on their favorite podcast channel. Website address is Scaffidi, SCAFFIDIRG.com. So please go check these guys out and get a look at all the different brands, all the different options, the menus, careers, anything that you might want to know. And they've got an awesome website. I love the graphics you guys have on here. It's amazing. It's
I
really.
think I look a lot better in caricature format, don't I,
Yeah,
Joe?
yeah, that's the word I was looking for, the characters. There's a lot of characters on here. And I didn't say characters, I said caricature.
Well, we're characters as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But anybody listening, please go check it out. And while we're talking about Gnocchi, we might as well talk about the franchising opportunity here, because a lot of our listeners are interested in the franchising business and kind of how to get it off the ground, how to get it started, and also we want to share the opportunity for the Gnocchi Nook to with other folks out there who may have an interest in learning more. So can you kind of give us some background on how you got into the franchising space and kind of what it took to get ready?
Absolutely. So, the first thing to kind of back up a smidge about the, sort of diversifying your portfolio. A lot of business individuals out there think that this is what I'm doing today. If I want to replicate something or I want to do something more, I have to do what I'm doing right now. And that's completely untrue. You can definitely hold true to a base, route that you have, which we did with, the Italian American market, the pasta market. We stayed true to that. But just because you're doing ABC business today doesn't mean you need to replicate that in full. You could have ABC business and then do DEF business, which is what we did. And it's a great way, for those that are in the restaurant business, you don't have to replicate your entire restaurant. You can always replicate a smaller version on a carry-out basis, or you can always replicate something that is a little bit more controllable, because those in the restaurant business know that it's a hands-on experience. It's really not something that you open up and you kind of leave to fend for itself. There are some businesses that are a little bit more towards that way, but the restaurant business is not, for sure. So you can create something that's a little bit more controllable, which is what we did. But it's not easy at the same time. Going from one location to two, those in the general, population think, okay, that's just sort of double of everything. That's definitely not true. There is more stuff involved, but the processes that you have to come up with, I'm a big process person, and developing those processes and developing the operational, guidelines of a second location is much different than just opening up one from scratch. So it went through a lot of work. It was a lot of brainstorming among myself and my two cousins that are in the senior leadership team here of the group. And we sat down and we really hashed everything out. And that's something that needs done in any business. But, when you open up a second location, undoubtedly, the first location is going to be affected in some way or another, hopefully not negatively, but it's going to be affected whether by moving people around or moving people into different positions to do something maybe someone once did that maybe, doing more with the other location. So it was a lot of planning, and we did that quite well. And we opened up the Gnocchi Nook in August of 2021. Since then, we find that this concept is easily franchisable. We're blessed with the fortune that we have been able to have the knowledge, and that's the fortune I'm talking about, is having the knowledge of the food service business for 12 years now, opening in 2009 and going into 2021. We've been here for 12 years. So we have that 12 years of food service business knowledge through expansions, through diversifying our portfolio, that we were able to realize what works, what doesn't work, maybe what would work on a dual location basis that didn't work before. This is all stuff that we went through. So we find that the Gnocchi Nook, although it's new, we have plans in the future for additional Gnocchi Nook locations under a corporate strategy, but we find the Gnocchi Nook is something that, can be franchised. You can take the average person and be given these processes and be given this product that we're willing to help you with and turn it into a business of your own. Or even if you are in the restaurant business and maybe you're in a different line of food, maybe you're in burgers, or maybe you're just in, a gastropub situation, or whatever your line of food, your line of cuisine is, the Gnocchi Nook is a great second addition to your portfolio that we're able to help you with that process. You don't need a knowledge of the food service business. We were able to take a few people within our operation, because it's such a small operation. There's a lot of crossover of jobs. In a traditional full service restaurant, you have people that work in the front that are geared towards your customer service, and people in the back that are geared towards obviously your food preparation and your culinary operations. The Gnocchi Nook is such a small operation compared to what we have here, that we were able to take people that are customer service minded, that work in our front of house operations, but also turn them into sort of the general Gnocchi Nook worker that has a lot to do with the culinary operations of it. And they did quite well, and they were quite trainable, and they were quite successful in what they're doing today. So, for those interested in a quick service establishment, you can definitely reach out to us. We are new, we did open in August, but you're not buying into the new establishment per se. You're buying into the 12 plus years that we have in the food service business. The Gnocchi Nook is doing quite well. It has a proven futuristic, operation mindset to it, between the inclusion of the delivery services, the inclusion of an app ordering, the inclusion of kiosk ordering. So definitely takes into account the wave of the future. I know Jeff pointed out our website. You can definitely take a look on there. Or for those watching online, you can scan my QR code up here and definitely reach out to me as well if you have any questions about anything that the Scaffidi Restaurant Group does, or essentially about franchising with us for our Gnocchi Nook concept.
Well, thank you for sharing that. It was a great insight, and hearing it straight from the proverbial horse's mouth is always really nice. And the fact that franchising is all about process, and you got to have all that stuff locked and loaded and in place so that it's easily transferable, to your franchisee. And of course, you've already got the back office. You've got the support of a great team that's been successful, has proven success for 12 years. So what a great way to plan your future investment for potential investors or franchisees who are interested. To be a great place to put your time and effort, and Frankie and his team would love to hear from you. So, if you've got an interest in learning more, please do all the above and reach out to these guys and learn more about what that opportunity looks like. I'm sure they'll be happy to share the details. I think, with that QSR concept it is, you said COVID proof earlier, and, as much as anything can be COVID proof, this is proven to be the wave of the future post COVID, for QSR restaurants who are set up for online, curbside delivery, the whole 9 yards of takeout or off premises dining. So, it was, I think it's a great move, and I'm sure it's going to do, and they are going to continue to do really, really well. So I appreciate you sharing all that you did, Frankie.
Thank you.
Hey, kind of backtracking a little bit, I always get out of sync, and that's just how I roll, I guess. But, we talked about the franchising piece. I meant to get to that later. Challenge wise, in building this business and being a part of this 12-year history, were there any defining moments of greater challenge than others that you guys had to face and kind of find a way around in your journey that might be helpful to some of our listeners?
Sort of a defining moment happened recently, I believe. Throughout the 12-year cycle, the first couple years, obviously, I was along for the ride with my two cousins.
Hanging on to the rank.
Exactly. I just kind of hung on, and I was there for anything I could do. I've always been described as someone that was beyond his years. So, at age 16, they always joked around and said I was like 40 at that point. So I was definitely there to play a role in whatever I could, but obviously was there along with my cousins who really put in the sweat and took the risk in 2009 to open. One thing that I'm very proud of throughout the whole time, we always grow in waves, and we grow in steps that are safe. And that's, what I can always recommend to people. That's not the defining moment. I'm going to talk about that here in a second, but always, whenever I'm going to quote, Marcus Lemonis. I'm a great fan of watching him in all of his endeavors. You have to have the people, the process, and the product. Those are the three things that we sort of live by here, and we're taking that from Marcus here. And you have to have the right people following the right process to get the right product. You can't have one of those out of line, because it's not going to work out well for you. So whenever we do something, sometimes I'm definitely a planner, but my cousin Nino, that's on the team with me here, one of the owners here, he takes process to a whole new level. So sometimes, it's kind of funny, the three people on one sort of team here, we go from my cousin Nino, who's the planner extraordinaire, to me, that's sort of the midway on the planning, and then my cousin Dawn, she's the workhorse. She'll take a plan and execute it and find a way to get her people to do whatever needs to be done in order to get the project done. So we're on a different spectrum here. So my cousin Nino, he takes the planning, to the fullest extent. I'm in the middle, and I'm getting a little frustrated and saying, we just got to do this. We got to move along. And then my cousin Dawn, she's ready to just charge with this project and get her done. So we work as a great team, but don't ever take take granted how much planning goes into something. And if you get the right people, if you get people to follow the right process, and the process is the biggest thing, you'll get the right product. And that's the thing that I can always say to you. Not to sound conceited, we have not had much that has failed within our establishment. Because of that fact. We always try things. We always go through the right product, the right process, and have the right people doing things for us. So not much has failed. Have we started a couple programs and it just hasn't worked out or has fizzled out? Absolutely. But in terms of development, we have not had anything that has really failed in our time, because we don't let it get to the point where we're doing something where we're unsure of going into it. So that's kind of the one, advice that I can give to people. One of the defining moments I could say happened in 2020, in August. And the example I'm going to give, it's not just limited to this one company or to this one concept, but that's when we started on DoorDash. I'm a young guy and I love technology. I've always been a techie guy. But whenever we started on DoorDash, it solidified my mind that in the small area that we are in, that seems always behind the times in terms of technology. We don't have any rideshare, companies here. DoorDash is here. That's the only major um, food delivery service that operates here. Grubhub does not operate a delivery service here. So we're sort of behind on the times because of our population and because of the age of the folks that are here. But when we started on DoorDash, it made me realize that this area is ready for technology. So if you're in an area where it might seem like having, technological pieces of your business may not be worth it, I'd like to challenge you to try it and see what it gets, see what it gets you. Prior to the first day that we did DoorDash, we did around 65 delivery orders. I never would have imagined that. I worked harder on that day than I think I ever have in the restaurant business, because I never expected to have 65 delivery orders come into my business that day. So, that really proved to me that that COVID-19 has sort of helped in that manner as well. I think if there's one good thing to come out of it, I think it has made areas advance in technology. It has made people utilize technology more. It has made people realize that technology is sort of the way to interact with businesses. So that's sort of the defining moment whenever we went all into technology. And when we did that, we doubled down on our online ordering. We doubled down on delivery services, which we never did before. We got an app that's soon to be releasing here in the next couple days for people to order for pickup or delivery from both of our locations. We launched a loyalty program that's integrated with our point of sale system. We launched a marketing program that is integrated with everything that I just said. So we doubled down on technology and we have shown the returns on it. It has been marvelous. Doubling down on these things and investing in these things has proven a higher ticket for our off-premise sales. It has shown a better return for our loyalty customers. Their average spend has gone up with us. The average repeat customer has increased due to our marketing activities. We've turned into that, sort of creepy restaurant that emails you that said, hey, you haven't been with us in 3 weeks. Where are you? Can you come back and order? So we sort of turned into that company that did that. And in this small area where 2 years ago, or 3 years ago now, and from 2019, if you would have asked me or if we would have been doing all of this, I would have said no, the return isn't there. But the return is there now. So if you're in a smaller rural area like we are here in Steubenville, Ohio, be the first one. It's okay to be the first one, and it's okay to be the trailblazer there. Because if you are the trailblazer, you're going to get those customers. They're everywhere. You're going to get the customers that want those, want these amenities in your business. You're going to get them to come to your place. And if you're the only one, trust me, they're going to frequent your place. And trust me, the wave of technology is coming. So if you are not doing it, and you may be the first one, do it now, because you better believe in a year from now, other places are going to be doing it. So why not be the first one, get the rush, get the benefits of being the first one and the only one, then that way you're going to be ready. So the defining moment, I'd say recently, was doubling down on technology and realizing that even in a small area, it's worth it. I'll stop talking now and let you.
No. That was amazing. I was taking notes as you were speaking, because I love the fact that you talked about all the things that you've done to adopt technology and kind of build that into the business, and the fact that you gave some specifics in terms of the returns that you're seeing from a positive standpoint. And I think that's the hardest thing for independent restaurant owners out there, is to they don't want to spend their money to begin with, because there's so little of it in terms of margins and things like that. And especially when you're still operating that one shop or one restaurant, and you've just not been able to grow it to where you want to get to. But if you invest it correctly, and I love the early adopter thing, especially for the rural communities and places like that. I live in one. It's very old school here, with people still writing tickets manually and not taking online orders. There's numerous restaurants here that don't. I don't even think there's a delivery service in my town that services this area. But nonetheless, be an early adopter, jump on the bandwagon. There's pent up demand, in these areas, and you were really fortunate to hit it at the right time and really see that great positive result. So I applaud you for that. Yeah, it's amazing what COVID has done to kind of revolutionize the restaurant industry. And I agree with you totally. You made the comment that they kind of pushed technology forward, and it really took a leap, in our businesses to kind of force us out there as both a consumer and a restaurant owner. So everything you said, I am all with you on it, and appreciate you sharing that with our listeners. I want to ask you one question as a follow up, and it's really about the marketing piece, because that's another area where independent owners tend to shy away from making investments in time or money. What are you doing that you can share with us anyway? Is it mostly like a social media type marketing campaign, or are you doing other things as well?
For a while now, even before we kind of had this doubling down of technology in 2020, we have always been sort of forward thinking on our marketing budget. Whereas a lot of restaurants and businesses in our area are still focused on print advertising, whether it be in the newspaper or direct mail, or whatever the case may be. Those outlets, if you do them and you do them in a smart way, they may pay off for you, absolutely. But we've always been individuals that have focused on digital advertising, whether it be keywords on Google, whether it's been display ads on the Google ad network, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. We're just getting into Snapchat ads, actually, because our Gnocchi Nook location definitely favors a younger demographic in terms of the whole experience. So you have to define what you're looking for, and you have to define what your business demands, and you sort of have to match it up with where you're going. And I feel that we do a really good job at that. We're very fortunate. I'm a young guy. I'm a techie guy. I always have been. And my work is not limited to the food service business. I've been involved in political campaigns, both as a candidate and both as behind the scenes leader. I've been involved in election administration as well. So my expertise in sort of communications and marketing sort of has been expanded because of those things. But if you didn't run for office, or you didn't run a campaign for someone else, that doesn't mean that you can't do what I'm doing. You just really have to drill down. Those things that I mentioned are things that we do. I don't hesitate and tell people what we use, because I love what we use here and I'm proud to use it. If I wasn't all of the above, we wouldn't be using it. So we utilize Square for a lot of our operations here, in terms of sort of the point of sale operations, the back end operations in terms of order processing for our online orders and everything such as that. But that opens up the opportunity for us to do a lot of marketing to our customers. Going with a cloud-based, does not have to be Square, but going with a cloud-based point of sale system is definitely such a huge thing nowadays, because the opportunities of people interacting with your business, whether it be buying gift cards online through that service, whether it be the service sending out emails for you. One of the things, like I said, we moved our online ordering to inside of the Square platform and integrated it with DoorDash and everything like that. That has allowed us to be more in tune with our customers as well. So if you visit us today, in about 3.5 weeks from now, you're going to get an email that says, "Hey, we miss you. Where are you? Can you come back and order another piece of lasagna? Or can you come back and order some more gnocchi?" Or whatever the case may be. We do that, and it keeps you top of mind, because people's attention, it's being commandeered by a lot of different things today. So you have to be top of mind in a lot of different ways. And that's what we mastered. Instead of spending a lot of money on one platform or doing a huge campaign, we focus on little campaigns to keep us top of mind across multiple different platforms. And all of it has been on technology. I can't remember the last time I've done a print ad. We've done a few donation ads or what have you in programs and things like that, but I don't think we've ever done a large scale campaign in print in any method whatsoever. Just focus on your technology, spread your budget. You could see the results right away. If you don't like how a campaign's going in a week, stop it. There's nothing saying just because you agreed to a month-long campaign on Facebook that you can't just hit pause and stop it if you don't like the results. And the demographics that you get on online advertising are unmatched. If you take an ad out in the newspaper, you don't know who's reading it. You don't know how many papers they sold that day. But at the end of the day, on Facebook, you could see, the age of the person that is seeing it, their gender, where they are, their interests sometimes. So, don't be afraid to invest a little bit of money. Try it out. If you've never done it, take $25 and put it on an ad. You could see the results come in quite quickly for it. As I said before, and like we agreed on, Jeff, being an early adopter of technology is nothing wrong. And sometimes you're in an area where you're not going to be an early adopter. You're going to be a late adopter in some areas. So it's time to really get going. And a lot of these things are low cost. If you have a point of sale system, adding on the subscription maybe for $30 a month or $49 a month, whatever it may be, to add a loyalty program, try it out. A lot of these technology companies are really friendly towards businesses that you can sign up for something. It takes minutes to implement. But if you don't like it in a couple months, or you don't feel that it's giving you the return, then cancel it. Move along. I'm not saying do that with a lot of different programs. You don't want to introduce a loyalty program and have your customers rack up points and be close to rewards. And then you say, hey, you know what? We're going to cancel the reward program. You got 99 points and you need 100. Well, goodbye, but, just give it a try. Be strategic. A lot of these things are low cost. I'm not telling you to buy, I'm not telling you to go out and buy a new Lincoln when you need a Ford. I just really, give it a whirl, put a little bit of money at a time, see if a project works. Don't buy the thing for $1,000 that does this thing in a month. See if you can piece together a couple little pieces of technology for $100 a month that does the same things for you.
Yeah, I really like that advice, and it's really simple, Frankie, and it's not that difficult, because basically what you're saying is POS system, which is going to capture the data, your customer data, and then you just implement a loyalty program as an example, and an email marketing program, or maybe it's email and text or SMS marketing, to be able to reach out to those current customers and bring them back in. That's not that complex, and very easy to adopt and implement, through your POS system. The only thing holding some people back is they've yet to get off the cash register and implement a POS system. But
you got to get off of that. I'm telling you, a point of sale system, it protects your business. It helps your business. Whenever I go somewhere and I see a cash register, I cringe a little bit, because I cannot imagine even running my QSR off of a cash register, because it protects your business. And one more thing I'll say about the technology piece is, a lot of people, I talk to a lot of different business owners. I'm involved in a lot of networking opportunities with them, and they say, I don't know how to do that. I check my email and that's it. I promise you, if you sit down and you just review things and go through it slowly, and I know business owners, we don't have all the time in the world, but if you sit down and spend 10 minutes a day, even if you don't know what you're doing, you could go to a free website builder and build a website within a week if you spend 10 minutes a day. I mean, it really, just sit down, try to figure it out. Don't be negative about it before you go into it. If you go into it and say, I can't do this thing, you're probably not going to figure it out. If you go in with an open mind and have some patience to you, and just spend a little bit of time a day, 10 minutes a day on a project is not really asking too much of a business owner or a business operator. Just dedicate 10 minutes a day to a project, and you will really, if you have an open mind, you're going to see where it could take you, and it's somewhere far.
That's great advice. And guys, I just heard a ding on your end. I looked down at the clock a few minutes ago and realized how much time had passed. We've
I'm a
really
big
kind of.
talker.
I know it doesn't take long when you got two good talkers, does it?
No, not at all.
But it's been amazing to kind of hear the story of Scaffidis and everything that you guys have done and are doing. I think it's a great business opportunity for folks who are looking to invest in a QSR concept. We've got the Gnocchi Nook for that, and we mentioned the website a couple times. So please go check that out. Scan the background, scan that QR code, and reach out to these guys. But Frankie, any final words of wisdom or anything that I didn't ask or cover that you want to make sure we say?
No, I focus on my true passion, which is technology and business. I really can't talk enough about it. I do a lot of marketing activities with DoorDash because, for our area, we are a valued partner of theirs, and we value their partnership as well. So I love talking about technology. So we touched my passion today, which has been wonderful, Jeff. All I could say is hang in there. These past few years have been really rough for businesses, especially it's hard to say, especially the restaurant business, because I'm not in any other business. It's hard to imagine what other businesses are going through because every business has their own unique set of challenges and their own unique set of opportunities. It's been hard in the business world. And right now, I know we didn't get a chance to go through it, with supply chain shortages and staff shortages and everything like that. All I can say is hang in there. It's been such a rewarding experience to be in business. And, unfortunately, business owners don't have an opportunity to sort of give up and quit their job. So if you're in the general population, be kind to the people working in your restaurant. They're working as hard as they can right now through these difficult times. But I'm always up for a conversation. We're all in this together at the end of the day. If I can, be of general help to anybody, just for a quick question about what's something the Scaffidi Restaurant Group does. Although I'm a very busy individual with a lot of different irons in the fire, I'm always up for a question. So if anything I mention here today, if you have a question about the loyalty program we use or what's something you use for this, drop me a line at the QR code. I'm definitely willing to answer a question or two here and there. I can't run your business for you, but I can definitely answer a couple questions and sort of, help you through, something that you're trying to implement. Because I am so passionate about these things, I don't mind to drop someone an email and tell them, hey, we use Square Loyalty, or we use this, or it's most economical to do this. So don't hesitate to reach out. Take a look at the Scaffidi Restaurant Group. We greatly appreciate it if anyone's interested in a franchise opportunity. And Jeff, thank you for everything you do for highlighting business owners all throughout the United States and, sort of giving us a platform to talk about, what's good, what's bad about the business right now. And hopefully someone learned something from me today. I don't know how much, but hopefully at least you left with one thing for listening to me ramble on today. So thank you, Jeff, for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Frankie, for being here. And we definitely, I'm sure, learned. I know I learned quite a few things, and I'm sure our audience and listeners have as well. Appreciate the willingness to share your, dropping an email and share your thoughts on a question or two out there. That's certainly kind of you. And, again, for all our listeners, it's the Scaffidi Restaurant Group out of Steubenville, Ohio, for those who missed that earlier. And, we hope you'll continue to support Scaffidi and all their different brands. And again, we thank you, Frankie, for sharing your expertise with us here today. And we thank you, our listeners, for joining us for another episode of the Local Leaders Podcast, and hope that you'll come back and check out our next show. Thank you very much.